Hello guys, my name is Jana, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, in this video I will show you this 3D acrylic board game Shattered Lands, and in this video I will explain you how to play on this board game, and in the same time I will show you with detail every component of this board game. So don't be pushed into the abyss, but push your opponents into traps. Use your character's special abilities and cut spell to win this battle of supremacy over this fantastic world. I hope you like my video. If so, don't forget, leave a like, and now I think it's good time to let's get started. Shattered Lands, the board game, will be played on a 3D acrylic board. This is where the race between factions for nether points will be found. Don't be pushed into an abyss, but push your opponents into traps. Use your character's special abilities and cut spells to win this battle for supremacy over this fantastic world. Prepare the battle arena by building a layout of islands in the game board that is appropriate for the game. Then place acrylic, teleport, abyssal and trap tokens on the designated spots on the map. In the case of traps, they have indicated on the back the effects to which a hero who falls into this trap or is pushed into it will be exposed. As you can see, he may lose life, have to discard spell cards, or have his nether points lowered. You have to know that very dangerous are the abyss tokens, which deal 2 damage to any character who falls into them. After that situation, the character marker is removed from the board and returned to the game at the beginning of the next turn. Finally, place the starting tokens and on them the standees of 2 of 3 selected heroes from a given faction. Now, before I show you how to fight in this board game, hear a little more about each of the 3 asymmetrical factions in the Shattered Lands. Mages, they seek victory by occupying more land of eliminating opponents. Mages are dangerous even if they are not around. Druids is a faction whose strength depends on the lands they control. The more land they have under their control, the more powerful spells they have at their disposal, and even the greater their range. Killers are famous for eliminating opponents, so they strive for contact confrontation as they specialize in melee combat. They can deal damage for spell cards and are extremely mobile. So after choosing a faction, decide which 2 of 3 heroes will stand up to fight. The important thing is to place the character card on the board with the correct size on the card, which when joined together will form the word synergy. This will determine the order of the heroes and their special abilities. Importantly, during the game you can't change neither the heroes or their order. After that, place the character markers on the starting tokens on the map. Next, each player draws 3 spell cards from his deck for his hand. Your goal in Shattered Lands is to reach the last space of the nether track first. The track is divided into 3 sections: yellow, orange and red. The further your marker is on the track, the stronger your hero's abilities will be. Remember that you will reach the last space on the track only by defeating an enemy hero, so you can be sure that there are a lot of battles written into the gameplay of this board game. In a 2-player game, each player has 4 action markers, which means that he can perform up to 4 actions in his turn. He can distribute the actions among his heroes. After choosing an action, mark it by placing the marker on its space on the player's board. Possible actions to perform are movement, casting a spell, meditation, land, and hero ability. Now listen a little more closely to each of them, which will give you an idea of the possibilities this board game offers you. Each movement action gives you the opportunity to use 5 movement points. The movement points you mark with a cube on the hero board. Importantly, you can distribute the movement points with other actions. For 1 movement point, you can move your hero by 1 space on the land. To go 1 level higher on the island or go lower, you need 2 movement points. You can also use all 5 movement points to make a jump. A jump will allow you, for example, to move from island to island, as well as to avoid a trap or a space with an abyss. However, beware of falls, which will result in the assignate of damage. Who will receive them? If you decide to jump down, it's a treat as a fall, and then your character will receive damage in the number of levels by which the character has jumped. However, if you jump down onto a space occupied by another hero, he will receive all the damage, and after that place your character on an adjacent space. So falls can be used to deal damage to enemies. So as you can see, falls can be used to deal damage to enemies. When you are pushed off, also count with damage. If someone pushed you off the board, you take a damage and you lose a turn, and the gameplay can continue only from a new game turn. Each time you perform an attack action on your enemy hero, you can convert 1 attack point into a push. This means that you will deal 1 less damage or no damage at all, but you will push the opposing hero 1 space in a straight line away from you. For the push itself, your opponent will not receive wounds, but he will receive them if you push him off the island, out of the arena, or push him into a trap or into an abyss. Remember that you cannot push a character into a space occupied by another character. When any hero loses all his life points, he is defeated and his stand should be pulled off the board. He will return to it in a new turn with a life level of 8 and start the game from his starting space. For defeating a hero, the opposing faction receives 5 nether points, which is marked on the track. Spell crossing is another possible action to perform in a turn. Players starting the game with 3 spell cards in their hand. In order to play one of these cards and use the effect written on it, you must perform the spell casting action. You can perform this action twice in a one turn, as indicated by the 2 cube boxes on the player board next to this action. The description of the spell's effects can be found at the bottom of the card. Some cards have free effects or reaction that you can play without having to use an action cube. The top left corner specifies the range at which the spell works. The first value specified whether the spell has an upward vertical range. The bottom value specifies the downward vertical range, and the middle value is the horizontal range area that is the same level as the hero. So, for example, an attacking hero casts the spell Cyclone. There are no enemy characters on his level, so the horizontal range is not used. The spell will reach the enemy hero who is 1 level higher, 1 space to the side. However, it will not work on the enemy below because the spell range works 1 level down and the enemy character is 2 levels below. Therefore, this spell, in this case, will injure 1 enemy. The last of the action from the player's board is Meditation. This is an action that allows you to draw 2 spell cards for your hand. In order to cast spell, you must perform meditation every so often. So after drawing 2 spell cards, you must discard 1 of your spell cards. Remember that if you are playing the team variant of meditation, you can exchange cards with a player from your team. In this case, the number of cards exchanged between players doesn't not matter. Since I'm talking about cards, 1 per turn, each character can use his special ability as an action. It is described on his card. For example, this hero, Nas, can attack an adjacent hero by dealing 2 damage. Of course, each faction character has a different asymmetrical special ability. Speaking of the ability of heroes, I will draw your attention to Synergy. This is a special ability available to both faction characters. Heroes do not need to consume an action marker to use it. Thus, you can use it for free in a turn, after meeting the conditions specified on the first hero's card. Then, you can use the effect from the second character's card. So, for example, if any of the killers moves to the islands below, you will be able to deal additional damage as part of their attack. As you can see, in this situation, their strength depends on the position of the faction's marker on the nether track. Another possible action in a turn is to occupy land, place your faction area token on a map or destroy the enemy hero's land. So it's a good idea to place land tokens on the map, because when an enemy character enters your land token, you will receive 1 nether point for doing so. In addition, you will receive nether points when you occupied the space where your hero is standing. Depending on the level on which you occupy land, you will get 1 nether point for 1 level of the board, 2 nether points for land on level 2, and similarly 3 points for occupying land of level 3 of the map. The points gained in this way, all or part of them, can be exchanged for matching spell cards, 1 point per 1 card. Destruction of the enemy player's land you can do when your character stands on the space with the opponent's land token. So in this situation, remove the token from that space. In addition, the enemy faction will lose as many nether points as the level on which the occupied enemy land lay. The Druid faction, in addition to its faction token, has a special land token. This is a land token that the Druids can only place using abilities from spell cards or their special ability. Such a token Druids can place on space occupied by another heroes, which automatically provides them with 1 nether point. After destroying, the Druids do not lose nether points. A teleport token will allow players to teleport to another such space or to any land token from their faction. To do so, 1 spell card you have to discard it from your hand. Importantly, the space to which a character teleports cannot be occupied by another character. The game of Shattered Lands will end immediately when the marker of any faction reaches or crossed the last space on the nether track. However, remember that in order to advance to the last space on the track, it's necessary to defeat the hero of the opposing faction. You can defeat opposing hero by dealing damage to it so that its life value drops to 0. A hero can be defeated when he falls off the island or is pushed outside the arena and loses all his life. When a hero enters on an abyssal or trap token, he can also be defeated. So, as you can see, there are many ways to deal damage to your opponents in this board game. I just add that in this video I will show you the prototype, so it's not a final version of this game, it's not a final product, so keep in mind. And about campaign, according to the publisher, only the acrylic version of this game with the 3 factions I presented in this video will be available in the deluxe version of Shattered Lands. So, as I mentioned before, if I got you interested in this board game, in the description below you can find a link to the campaign page. Don't forget, leave a like if you like this video, of course, and I hope see you soon in next video. Thank you guys, bye bye.